So what is hand fighting? All hand fighting is me using my head and arms to control your position, to set up your head and arms so they're not in the way when I go to shoot my takedown. I can also manipulate your head and arms to get you to move to help set up my takedown. In BJJ, you might know it as grip fighting. It's sort of an art form within the art form. It's one of the most important aspects of wrestling. Wrestling is often described as a martial art that allows you to dictate where the fight takes place. So if that's true, then hand fighting allows you to dictate where the wrestling match takes place, whether that's from space and close, manipulating from ties, on the edge of the mat, up against the fence, in the middle of the octagon, wherever the fight is taking place is dictated upon the hand fight. Wherever the wrestling match is taking place is dictated by the hand fight. It's a very important skill, and there's a couple basics we're gonna go over in this video that allow you to get your feet wet and really start getting into what the hand fighting game is really about. All right, so the most basic hand fighting position is the double inside tie. You're gonna be hooked on your partner's armpits, and all your partner's gonna do is just hook their hands over top. They can grab your elbows, grab your triceps. Anywhere is fine, here or here, right? Just so they have an opposing hook. I'm going to hook on my opponent's armpit. You're gonna rev the motorcycle here. Shopping cart tie, double inside tie, multiple things. We'll just call it a double inside tie, okay? So we're double inside tie here, hooking on our partner's armpits. My thumbs are not involved. They're pinched to my side. Hooking, and I'm gonna stay right out front, head to head, and I'm gonna circle left and right. I'm gonna circle left and right. Circle left, circle right. See what happens to his feet when I circle? So I'm moving his feet to get them coming towards me to set up my shot. If I have a good single leg, this is a great way to set it up. I can circle, pull that leg, and go to the leg. Same thing on the other side. If I have a good high crotch, good head outside single, I can circle, that leg comes towards me, and that opens up my shot. Hand fighting. I'm positionally setting his hands up so they're not in the way when I go to shoot, and I'm also using it to set up my shot, to get his movement working in my favor. Now, double inside tie isn't the end all be all. Double outside tie can be just as effective. So if my partner has double inside tie on me, here, I can have a outside tie. I can achieve the same movement from an outside tie. I can circle while pulling on the triceps and elbow, and I can actually shorten his inside tie. See how his grip is in my armpit? If I pull here on his arm, on his elbow, I can shorten that tie, nullifying his pull. I can also achieve the same motion, right? I can circle right, circle left to set up my shot. The exact same setup, okay? So if I want his single leg, that outside leg, I can pull right to my shot. Double outside, I can pull right to a double. Okay? It becomes about who is more proficient in these areas. If you have preferences on what ties that you want, it's not that one tie is necessarily better than the other. Inside tie isn't better than an outside tie. It's your preference and proficiency in the area compared to your partner. Now let's talk about collar ties, the third most common tie. I can have any number of ties, inside tie, outside tie, in combination with my collar tie. Again, this just offers me a different kind of control. I can achieve the same areas of motion with my collar tie. So let's say I have double inside tie, partner's double over tie, and I'm gonna go collar tie and pull with my armpit tie, here. And I swisher, windshield wiper my hands to the other side. Why would I do that? Well, now I want him to circle this leg towards me to set up offense. And this is how you can drill it. You just go back and forth, back and forth. Pull, windshield wiper, pull. And I'm also pulling on his collar, pulling on his head. Not just pulling here, but I'm pulling here to the side. And I'm always circling with my hips. This is never just my arms doing the motion. Watch my hips. If we're over here, I'm circling, moving my hips, moving my hips, moving my hips, okay? You wanna use your whole body to move him. I'm trying to move his whole body to get him to step and move to set up my offense. If I'm trying to move his entire body with just my arms, I'm gonna wear myself out really fast. I have to step, circle, and pull my elbows back with my body, using my whole entire being to control and move him. Let's talk about our wrist ties. So whenever our partner is posting on us, we're hand fighting, we're all fighting for position here, I can always, at any time, reach up, grab a wrist, peel it down, okay? You can have a thumb inside, wrist grip. You can have a thumb outside, wrist grip. They have their different advantages, okay? Mess around with both and see which one you like. You're gonna be using both to set up different kinds of offense, so you're gonna need to be comfortable with both, okay? When you're in the elementary stages of developing your hand fighting game, it's hard to fully know what you're doing until your takedowns are fully developed. All right, so right now, it may seem like, okay, why am I pulling this way? Why am I pulling that way? Just get really proficient in your movement here, okay? And as you add more and more takedowns to your arsenal, this is all gonna make more and more sense, okay? So, peeling this wrist down, I can achieve the same motion with a wrist tie and his collar tie. I can pull, step, and get that leg to come towards me to set up my single leg. Same thing on the other side. I can pull and step, setting up my single leg. There's so much in here in a hand fight, but these are the most basic positions that you're gonna end up in. Does it encompass all of hand fighting? No, but it encompasses a large majority of it. Now, you can set up any combination of the hand fighting techniques that I just showed you to create an infinite number of combinations. So I can have a wrist tie and an inside armpit tie and a wrist tie. He can have an inside armpit tie or a collar tie. I can have an outside tie and a wrist tie. I can have an outside tie and an inside tie. It's just about, what am I trying to do? What am I trying to manipulate? Where am I trying to get him to step? What movement am I trying to create to set up my offense? Okay, and it's called a hand fight because it's continuous motion and movement. Very rarely are you stationary in a hand fight. Very rarely do we end up here and then just stay here for any length of time. I'm constantly trying to improve my position. And what is your opponent gonna do? They're not gonna sit there while you improve your position. They, in turn, are going to try to improve their position. So here we are in a fight, okay? You're in a hand fight, flowing through the hand fight. Let's say that, hypothetically, I really like double inside ties to set up the majority of my offense. I'm gonna need to be able to get to that inside tie and set up my offense quickly. I cannot expect to get to an inside tie. I cannot expect to get to any tie and hang out there for a very long time, or any length of time, really, without my opponent reacting. So, instead of trying to get to a position and stay there, focus on flowing to that position, and then your partner, in turn, getting into their position will push you out of your position. So you have to flow back. You're constantly re-aiming at your target. You're constantly resetting your sights and trying to get back to that target. Do not get discouraged if you get pushed out of position consistently in a hand fight. That's actually the point. All right, your goal is just to see how often and how quickly you can get back to the position that you favor. So if I like double inside ties and he likes double inside ties, right? If he's gonna start rotating his hands inside to here, and that's gonna create this continuous pummel, right? And then as soon as I get to my double inside, that's when I'm gonna have to hit it, use it to set up, all right? Practice getting to the ties you want and then creating your motion and firing off on your shots. Don't hang out here. Move your hands, move your feet. That's one of the key aspects to hand fighting, is constant motion, okay? So, I wanna give you one little thing here, one like bonus movement. We have our double inside, we have our double outside, we have our collar tie, and any combination of inside outside tie. Our wrist tie, I wanna give you an underhook, okay? So, and a basic way to get to your underhook is with a collar tie here, scooch over a little bit, and a wrist tie. All I'm gonna do is step to the outside and pull his head in an opposing motion. So I'm gonna pull and step, and my hand with a thumb outside tie is going to rotate inside to here, right to here, head in the temple. Underhooks are one of the most basic and effective ways to control your partner in the match. If I have an underhook, a good deep underhook on him and good head position, I'm gonna have a very good chance of dictating where he goes, where we go. on the mat, okay? So if I have this underhook, that means my elbow will always be closer to my body than his. The closer your elbow is to your body, the stronger it gets. So just by a positional advantage, I'll be able to dictate where we go from here. I can push in, I can circle, I can pull, I can circle the other way. If I have this underhook, my hips are gonna be lower than his. I'm gonna have him jacked up, his elbow further away from his body than mine is from mine, okay? Such a positional advantage that you can dictate, you get to dictate where the fight takes place, where the wrestling match takes place, okay? So one more time, we're here, we're hand fighting, I peel a wrist, thumb outside, hand on the collar, I'm gonna step, same side wrist, and pull the head. See that opening it creates? See all this space we have here? Nice big space for my hand then to rotate inside, right up to his delt, right up on top of his shoulder. A lot of places you can put your hands on an underhook. A lot of places I can put my hands, okay? Depending on the offense that you're trying to create. For now, just keep it right up on his shoulder, elbow high. My elbow's low, he's gonna clamp down on that. His overhook is gonna overpower my underhook. I wanna keep this high. Hand stays on the collar, my head goes right into his temple, and just get fluid here. Practice moving him around, practice circling, pushing in. If this were a fight, you see this all the time. Guy has an underhook, whoever has the underhook dictates who stays up against the cage. If I have an underhook here, I can really dictate how long we stay here and where we go from here, okay? Helps to keep your opponent jacked up and his chest off from over his base, okay? So if he's not low, if he can't get low, it's very unlikely he's gonna be able to dictate where we go from here, okay? So these are the basics. These are the basics of our hand fighting game in a wrestling context. Take your time with them and get your reps in. This is definitely a technique that you can practice on pretty much anyone, any age or size. Just the greater the size and strength disparity between you and your partner, just the less power that you should be relying on. Just take the strength out of it and focus on the position. Focus on really getting detailed in your positions and then just rotating through them. You can set a timer, get 20 minutes in a day, get 50 reps in a day. The important thing is that you just get some time in this area, all right? You're not gonna get better at hand fighting simply by watching hand fighting videos. You have to actually put in the time and put in the energy and effort to work on these techniques. That applies to all of these videos, guys. You'd be much better off actually practicing one of them, getting a partner and working on it, than you would be just going on and watching more and more videos, okay? So this is a very, very important aspect of wrestling. So it deserves the time to practice it.